Welcome to The Passion Pod with your host, Chris Johnson. Thanks for joining us. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the feature presentation.
Season 2, Episode 6.
Welcome back, friends, for our sexiest episode so far. And no, it's not just me sitting by the fireside, although I am. I'm with a special guest. She's been capturing moments for a long time and now spends a lot of it with beautiful women with little to no clothing. Sounds like a great life, and I'm ready to hear more. Welcome, Lexi Mae.
Welcome. Hi. How's it going? And it is a really great life. That's true.
I believe it. So how do people follow what you do? How do they contact you if they want to take photos? And in general, find out more about you?
Facebook and Instagram, for sure. Alexandra Mae Photography is my Facebook. Also, Alexandra Mae Photo on Instagram. And you can always email me from either of those places.
Do you have a website or anything like that?
Yeah, alexandramayphotography.com.
Sounds like that's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking back, we all have camera phones. I guess I don't know how old you are, but what was the first camera that you ever purchased outside of being like your cell phone?
Oh my gosh. I mean, as a kid, I used to go through disposable cameras like crazy. I would beg for my mom to buy me them at the store and stuff like that. So I would get 3 packs of them and just go nuts with taking pictures of my cats in the yard and doing stuff like that. My friends and I would be like, let's do a vacuuming commercial, and we'd take pictures of each other vacuuming and really weird stuff like that.
But they were all your idea to do that.
Yeah. I was always just kind of taking pictures of weird stuff, but I never actually thought about it as a career or whatever till way later. And I ended up using a friend's camera for school. It was just a school project I think I had to take photos of.
Was this college time?
Yeah.
So
it was
my
my
DSLR?
sophomore year. Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't even remember what it was. It might have been a really old a Nikon's something. Gosh, I'm never going to remember it right now.
I used a Nikon, I think D70 or something.
Yeah, it was something,
it
might have been a D60. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't even tell you right now. It's, I think that the first one I really bought for myself was my D600. Something like that. I mean,
Okay.
It's crazy that you're putting me under this pressure and I'm supposed to know about camera equipment, and it's that kind of thing. Oh yeah, I think it was my D600, which is now my backup camera.
Sure.
So,
but you still have it.
Yeah, I still have it.
Cool.
I mean, those things are good forever.
You can use them for a long time.
Yeah.
You took classes in college then for photography. When was the first paid gig that you had, and what was it? I'm sure you probably did random photos of friends and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Just to say, hey, I'll do this whole reel for you for free to get a little bit of experience. But when did you get paid for the first time?
When I went to school, I went for visual communication and bopped around between that and studio arts.
Was that UWC or Stout?
No, I went to UW Green Bay, and then I went to UW Milwaukee, and then I went to Western Technical College in La Crosse, and that was it. I never graduated, though. But yeah, this was at Western Technical College. I was in a photography class, and I wasn't even focusing on photography at the time. I was actually focusing on film. And the section in the class was for portraiture. And so I went and took photos of a friend and brought these pictures back to class. And it ended up being the only section in that class that I got an A on, was taking photos of humans. And I ended up getting a C- in my photography class. My teacher did not like any of the creative that I would, bring a picture of a freaking water droplet or some bullshit, Mm-hmm. And he was but for real though, the humans that you're taking pictures of, that's good. So I started doing that for friends for free or whatever. And my first paid gig came from knowing somebody on the UW La Crosse women's rugby team. And she asked me to do a 12-month calendar with the rugby team, and they had strategically placed rugby balls and cleats and stuff like that. And so it actually was a nude calendar, and that was my first paid job. It took me 13 hours of shooting, and I got paid $200. And then it was all in a super tiny hot room, and it was kind of but it was cool. I mean, the calendar turned out super nice, and the girls all looked great, and we had a good time, but it was a lot of work for $200, especially in post processing. That was kind of crazy.
On season 1, episode 9 with Eric Elstrand, he made a comment. He's a professional BMX rider. And he made a comment about like, look, you can't go into something with the assumption of being paid.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to do something a lot of times for free because you enjoy it. And then if you get good, you will get paid.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how it goes. So unfortunately, yeah, at the beginning, like that's the expectation. It's the same way though with like the podcast. You know, I recorded a whole season, a whole 10 episode season before I even started talking to people about where is this going to be online?
Yeah.
Who is going to be able to like pay for advertising or any of that type of stuff. I just did it because I really liked it. And then I got decent at it and things were coming out and I was like, wow, okay. I have something here that now is worth money.
Yeah. Sometimes rolling with the idea and just like being like taking that thing that you're passionate about and just going with it and without really any regard for making any money is not necessarily a good thing, like financially for, you know, a long run plan. But if you really want to put yourself in a spot where you can, you know, show what you can do, then like you're right.
Yeah,
it's just.
You have to have a business sense, obviously.
Yeah.
But I guess the point of it all is, you know, what we're talking about, things you're passionate about. These should be, you know, ideally, they would be things we would do if we weren't getting paid anyways.
Yeah.
So that's the cool part is you get good at doing these things you just want to be doing. And now you're making a living doing them.
Yeah.
In the service industry, and especially in general when you're self-employed, we do a lot of like trades. That tends to happen.
Oh,
yeah, I think we all
it.
love that because you're like, oh, wait a second. I'm getting your discount. You're getting my discount. We're not paying taxes on it. We're just trading. Tight.
Yeah.
What can we trade?
A tradable service is
I feel
gold.
like that happens often, especially with things like photography. What's one of the crazier trades that you've made for your work?
Oh my gosh. A lot of the cool ones have been like destination weddings for friends. I do them for friends like ridiculously. You know, it's like, it's a good thing. Like take me to the Bahamas, take me to Jamaica, and we'll make this work. You know what I mean? Like I want to go for 4 or 5 days and we'll make it work. But I mean, right now I got my eyebrows microbladed for a trade. I got yoga membership for a trade, massages, skincare. It's awesome. I'm like, hell yeah. Anytime. I'm looking for a chiropractor right now. So if any chiropractors want to trade, I am ready for that. You know, like that would be, it's just so cool. I don't know. Even things like that. It's also really awesome to work with other small business owners because they're also excited like for what I offer for them. And then I'm like, also your service is super cool. Like let's set up a massage. I'm actually doing that tomorrow. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I do it pretty often too.
Yeah.
And I talked to another business owner in town about this and I was saying, you know, one thing that's scary when you open your business is you feel like you're on your own. Like you're totally by yourself. You have no coworkers to help you with, you know, problems or whatever.
Just kind of panic alone a lot.
Yeah, but you know, if you think of it in a different way, you're actually not alone at all because everybody else in town who's a small business owner is basically your coworker. We're all working towards the same larger project and each of us have different roles within that one workspace as in your city.
Yeah.
But all these people probably have time for you to answer any question you want, are probably trying to work with you on any project that you want to work with. Like if you put yourself out there with the other local business owners in town, most of them are very open to working with you and helping you with anything under the sun, which is really cool. I don't know if that's just Eau Claire, but I think that's a lot of places, but Eau Claire for sure.
It's a lot of places, but I think that, well, it's such a cool analogy to put it like that, to make like the town your work environment. I think that that's like a really awesome way to think about it. And that is one reason why I love Eau Claire so much. I've lived a lot of places and like I'm talking like Nebraska, Arizona, every corner of Wisconsin. And Eau Claire is like the first place that's really resonated with me as far as like community goes. And the community here is awesome. Like the sheer quantity of business owners that are like small business owners that are available socially is the coolest thing about this town. I love knowing that like on one street, there's like 3 small businesses, like the street that you're on. You know what I mean? Like Red's, the local store. It's just the hotel, you know, your store. It's so cool. And everybody is so supportive and kind. I mean, it's just unbelievable how lucky I feel to live here.
For me, it's very, very motivating because I'm seeing other like-minded people in similar situations to myself succeeding in all kinds of different ways.
Yeah.
And it makes me think like, God, that person just did that really cool thing. I need to step my game up and like think outside the box and do some other really cool thing. Like I just saw Skin Prints just had their whole backside of their building painted as a huge mural. Yeah, it's huge. And I ended up talking to the artist who did it. And I guess the city doesn't even like require any permits or anything for it as long as there's no advertising or anything on it. You can just do artwork. So now I'm like, well, we got this huge brick wall in my parking lot. Like, I need to make this happen because I saw this happen over there.
You're doing this, right?
Well, I'm down to paint a mural, so we'll see. But
oh my God, I'm
trying to
excited.
get a mural on that wall. That's definitely a goal.
That's gonna be lit.
So on your Instagram, I saw the first time I saw anything of Boudoir was you asking for like volunteers, I think, in April of 2018, roughly that time frame.
Model call.
Okay,
model call, sure. A booty call is what,
I like that. So was that the first time that you ever did that?
Yeah, it was. It was the first time that I had ever done something where I was looking for a significant amount of people to do a photo shoot and sign a model release so that I could have marketing materials. You know, I'd spent a lot of time doing just weddings. Like my first paid shoot happened to be a boudoir related thing, but then I never did it again until 8 years later or something like that. I met somebody that she kind of pushed me in the direction of doing boudoir, and that's actually kind of a cool story. So I'm just going to go for it and tell you that. Local business owner here had recommended me for doing headshots for another photographer who ultimately she opened a business running an educational program. And so I am taking headshots of this woman. And the way I act when I'm working is it's almost like in a movie when you see the photographer being like, oh, work it, girl, you know, like, but that is not a fake thing. That's not a movie thing. That's like a thing that happens. And I do it when I'm working and it's not fake. I'm like, oh my God, look at your right now. Whoa, you know, like, shut up, I gotta get this. Or, the light's perfect. For real, like, killing it. And that's kind of how I act while I'm working. So I was acting that way while I was working and taking her photos. And she kind of just stopped me. And she was like, you need to do boudoir. You need to. And I was like, you know, I don't know about that. You know, like I love weddings. I love the chaos of it. It's so fun. And that's true. I do love running around and like I can keep up with the whole thing and I jump and crawl and whatever and joke with people. And I love doing that. But she's like, shut up. I'm telling you, it is your thing and you have to listen to me. You have to try this. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll try it. I mean, you know, it's not like I'm making a full-time living doing weddings because I wasn't. So I just kind of went for it. That was early 2018. My very first boudoir session, I think, was late April 2018. And it was honestly the first day of the rest of my life. Like, I'll never forget the feeling of it and how cool it was. I arranged my whole home. I redid the entire lower level so that it would accommodate like a studio vibe. There's a bed in the living room and there's like a big blank, beautiful gold wallpapered wall that's awesome. And then I repainted the entire spare bedroom black so that it would be like really cool for super stark, moody photos. And so this client came over and it's kind of weird because we're both just like, okay, well, like, let's do this. Like, show me what you got, girl. Like, what'd you bring? So we're taking these photos and it's super fun, you know, because we're like kind of laughing and I demonstrate a lot of poses. So like half of my day is being on the floor, sticking my ass up or like grabbing my boobs for a stranger. Like, I'm just like, okay, this is what you do. Like, I'm going to show you. Then I do same day viewing and it was the first time I had done it. So it was a bit of a learning experience and just like her reaction to seeing herself like this was the coolest, you know? People don't get the opportunity to see themselves in that light really ever, you know, unless they're paying for this particular service. So it was like honestly the coolest. And I feel like I just went on a tangent, but meeting that girl and taking her headshots and her insisting that I try this thing, I was like, holy shit. After that session that day, I was like, this is it. Like, this is what I'm going to do forever. Forever. There's nothing else. Because it's just like that feeling of showing people the cool, like the best parts of themselves. It's unmatchable in anything I've ever done. That's
powerful. I feel like I can understand from a different perspective. And I guess hear me out on this because skateboarding is not similar, but in some ways, right? So skateboarding in some ways that's similar is no matter how much you do it, you're very insecure about your abilities in skateboarding the same way people are with their bodies or anything else. Yeah. And then when other people are like, no, dude, you're so good at that trick or whatever. So we did 2 shop videos, right? And I don't ride for the store. I own the store. I sponsor all the good kids in town.
Yeah.
Well, they convinced me like, dude, you got to get tricks in the video. And I'm like, yeah,
for
okay.
sure.
You know, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And ended up just going out filming with them a bunch, right? Mm-hmm. Well, so for like the second one, I had full parts in both of them. But for the second one, it was like a pretty big production. It was like 40 minutes long. We premiered the video at the movie theater, like at the downtown cinema.
Oh, that's super cool.
And it sold out. Like we hit fire capacity and they had to do 2 showings of it because there were too many people there.
Yeah.
And I had like a 3.5 minute part or something of just like me, you know? And so we're all in the theater or whatever. And when my part comes up, like shows my face, my name or whatever, and then everyone starts cheering and it's just like, holy shit, all these people.
Himself.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But like then watching somebody who's really good at it. So shout out to John Ewald. He was the filmer and editor for the whole video. He used to do video marketing for Stout and now he works out in California. Mm-hmm. But he did that whole video. But yeah, he captured it and he put the song to all the tricks or whatever and compiled the whole thing. I'm like, I have never looked that good on my skateboard in my life, but you made me look so sick, man. Like I was so hyped about it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I never look that good normally. I've never seen myself look that awesome on a skateboard until you fucking made that happen. So.
For real though, shout out to him. That's the kind of shit that people behind the camera can do.
Absolutely.
And not to say that you aren't fucking amazing on your own, because everybody else probably saw that shit in you and you didn't see it in yourself until he showed you.
Well, everybody else in the video, they were still way better, but still. So asking about like reasons why, right? So you did a booty call to try to get some of these ladies in it. But one of the things I was wondering about before asking about it, because I don't know how I found you on Instagram. Maybe it was like a hashtag Eau Claire or something, but I saw and I was like, oh, sweet butt.
Yeah,
who's this?
Up?
Oh, there's all kinds of good butts on here. Sick.
That's like half my job,
But I guess I don't know what the motivation is behind it. Is it like a women empowerment thing? Is it like the only time it ever has been talked about in the past for the most part is like you do this as like a gift for your husband or something, which I'm sure that happens, but like clearly that's not the only reason women are doing this.
There's like so many different reasons. And like empowerment is for sure, it's a word that gets tossed around a lot in the industry. And that is like absolutely a huge part of it. Even though it's like a catchphrase word that I think the people like that aren't necessarily ready to admit that they're going to feel that way. They don't want to necessarily say that, but that is a really big part of it. But I mean, there are so many cool reasons. Gifts, it makes a great gift for any person that you want to see you naked. Like, it's great. There's also like the catch where it ends up being a gift for yourself, like more than anything else. And people don't really realize that until like the end of their session when they're like, oh my God, though, like, look at this picture of me. You know, there's that wow moment. So there's, you know, it's mainly a gift, I think, for the client, but I've had people come in for a lot of different reasons, like, you know, milestones, like it's my 30th, 40th, 50th birthday, or I lost a lot of weight, or I gained some weight and I want to feel good. I've had abuse survivors. One of my clients, she said that she was in like a super physically and emotionally abusive relationship for 15 years and it ended in the past year. And it was pretty emotional actually, because she came over and we were talking before we got started and she started kind of tearing up. She said that she had never like really felt beautiful like a single day in her life that she can remember ever. It actually gets me like kind of emotional just thinking about it right now. Because I mean, that girl, she lit the fuck up halfway through her shoot. You know, it's crazy. I'm like taking these pictures and photograph number one, I always like to show, we do like an easy one right away. And I like to show it, you know, like, look at you. And they're like, oh, okay, like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. And then halfway through, people are like striking poses and, you know, like, okay, having ideas, like, let me do this. And it turns into this super fun thing. So it's cool to see women that go through, like, because everybody has a fucking story, you know, we all do. We've all gone through this in one form or another. And whether or not you've been divorced and you want to take some pics to make yourself feel good about this new chapter, or whether you're giving it as a gift, there's like so many different reasons. And it's really cool because you don't necessarily have to be having these photos taken for somebody else. I'd say that the most important reason to do it would be to do it for yourself and to just have the feeling of seeing yourself looking like a and bombshell, because that's what it is, you know, and it's not something that we as women or men all ever really get to experience. Because I mean, you look at yourself in the mirror or you look at yourself in a shitty picture somebody took on their iPhone in bad light, you know, and then you're like, Like,
Yeah.
I don't know about how this looks right now.
Well, we have a huge confidence problem and self-esteem problem in our country in general. And I think everywhere in the world for that matter. And the internet has made that really difficult for people. So I think anything that improves your self-worth, anything that improves that is super important to include in your life, which is why we're talking on the podcast in general about like, how do you find ways to incorporate your passions more into your life?
Yeah.
Anything like that. You should never be ashamed to do anything that makes you feel good as long as you're not hurting anybody else. There's no reason to be embarrassed about any of those things. If that makes you feel better about yourself, fantastic. Then you should absolutely do that. And that applies to all kinds of different stuff. I was talking to a yoga instructor on a different episode about how a lot of times men are uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, why?
If you feel good about doing cat cows on your, you know what I mean? Like sticking your butt up in the air because it helps your spine. Like why would you be embarrassed? You shouldn't be embarrassed about any of that type of thing. Let's switch it to something that is embarrassing.
Oh, I love that.
I think we should just do this fun activity here. You told me in general that you actually did do a shoot with a man at one point.
Yeah.
So I want to put a picture in the audience's mind and all of our friends that don't want to see me. Now they're going to have to see me. So let's say that I'm contracting you to take photos of me, right? We're only going to use one photo. There's no budget on this. So we can be anywhere in the world. We can spend money on anything that you want. Anything. You can take one photo of me. Can you describe it to me?
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is exciting. One photo. I'm looking at you right now. So I mean, I feel like if this is about you and there's what I would do for myself, but then I'm looking at you as a client. And that's kind of like where my heart would reside in making you the happiest with this picture of you. So I would pick somewhere boss, like where is like there this super awesome skate thing that happens every year, you know, like the competition. What is it called?
Well, there's all kinds of competitions, but there's a lot of really famous skateboard spots, I guess.
Yeah. Something like cool. Like, I don't know. I'm envisioning like I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, like a load as a kid. So I'm thinking like putting you in the middle of like a graffitied, like, you know, whatever. Let's just get you, you know, I feel like a tasteful nude.
There's a like street skateboard spot / park that's in London that's all graffitied up and it's like underneath this, like, I don't know if it's under a parking ramp or what, but it's a pretty fucking cool spot.
Okay, we're going to London. We're going to catch the red eye to London because we got to get there early in the day. We'll have the whole day to shoot. Find the one picture. We go to your spot where it's graffitied under a bridge, mid-afternoon, so that the sun's hitting just right. And I'm thinking tasteful nudes, but if you need a strategically placed skateboard, we can do that too. It'll allude to something like really big and magnificent. But yeah, I mean, I'd probably test out a lot of the poses first, fully clothed, of course. I'm thinking for you, standing chin up like a king, you know, that look like a rule this skate park, that kind of thing. And yeah, totally nude, aside from the skateboard, you know? That's what I'm seeing. Maybe the one that's on your wall right there.
Oh, yeah. That was painted by one of the customers of the shop and given to me as a gift.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, it's super sick.
That's boss.
Thank you for that very tasteful image. I can't wait to hear about that from friends at parties all the time.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to honestly envision it for the rest of forever.
I have a question that hopefully will help everybody. We talked about this before about how when you hire a photographer, especially for your nudes, right, they're going to make you look fantastic.
Yeah.
Selfies are something I wish would go away slightly on social media because they're so ridiculously overdone.
I know.
But from your professional experience, duck faces are stupid, right? But can you give some tips to our friends? If you're going to take a selfie and post it on your social media and expect me to want to make a comment on it, how can people make their selfies a little bit better?
Well, definitely not having them look the same as all the ones before. I don't know if you've seen those, or it's like, I don't know, the younger Instagram generation right now. It's literally the same angle of your face with the same facial expression. Like, for sure, nobody's going to know the difference between that photo and the last 25,000 that you've posted. So I'm thinking like different angles. Don't be afraid to use your self-timer. Good light, you know, stand in front of a window facing the light, you know, like let it come in. Maybe not like directly staring into the glaring sun, sun, but don't take it underneath an awful light in your kitchen. Don't take a mirror selfie. You can every once in a while. It's okay. I do too. But don't be afraid to take a lot and pick your favorite, because that's a lot of what I do too. Just make them different. Don't be afraid to show your personality and smile and laugh. Because a lot of times you're worried about what, your face looks when you're laughing or whatever. But that's like the way that your friends see you, is happy and smiling and joking around, hopefully. And so that's like the way that they think that you're the most beautiful. It's just the way that you don't see yourself that often, because you're not like looking at yourself and having like a fun, heartfelt conversation, So
I've always said that the coolest person in the room is the person having the most fun.
Yeah.
That's how I've always felt. And as an example, any celebrity that is willing to make fun of themselves, like they know they're cool as fuck. But somebody like Justin Timberlake then can go and do SNL where he's like making fun of himself super hard. And that's what makes me like that person.
Oh, for sure.
It's not because of their cool guy photos, but because of them looking stupid and laughing about it. And I'm like,
totally.
That guy just seems rad. Like, I want to be around that person more.
For sure.
So yeah, have more self-confidence, or at least attempt to, and be willing to laugh at yourself, and everyone's going to want to be around you so much more. So getting near the end of this, what's next for Lexi's Boudoir?
It's not even about what's next. It's about what's happening, like what is beginning. I've been doing photography for a really long time. I've been doing boudoir almost exclusively for a year and a half or 2 years. But this month is the first month that I've gone full time with my photography and like actually been able to like create a sustainable living for myself. And it's super cool and scary and exciting. And I really am looking forward to, reaching out to people that can help me build my business and like sustain my business, and like maybe outsourcing a little bit more and finding people that are super talented that can help me with things like, I don't know, all aspects of running a business. It's like bookkeeping. For me, it's editing, marketing, which I have a great marketing person, Beth from Starboard Editing. She's the best. And just like things like that, where I really want somebody to answer emails for me. That'd be so cool. So I'm hoping, and aside from just growing my business and maintaining it at a sustainable level for a while, I'm excited to start outsourcing and maybe hiring and setting up my studio space to really reflect what I want my client experience to be. I want people to come in and feel super cozy, and that means completely rearranging my office. And I think that that's going to be like my next big project, just making it like a really cool client experience for when people walk in the door.
So I like to ask this on each episode, just because we get to live kind of unique lives and have very unique experiences when you don't do the traditional career. So can you tell me about an experience that you're very grateful happened to you, but only happened because you're pursuing your passion for, in this case, boudoir?
Gosh, I think that the experience, I wouldn't even say experience singular, it's experiences plural that I'm grateful for, are the things that I feel more comfortable doing now simply because I ask my clients to feel comfortable doing, things that are a little bit outside their comfort zone. Because I ask people to come over and do something so vulnerable, I feel like it's part of my job to do that also, and to, set an example. So I've started taking a little bit bigger risks of doing things that I wouldn't have been comfortable doing ever in my entire life. Whether that be just like being willing to, I'm willing to demonstrate a pose pretty much anywhere at any time. So if somebody comes and asks me, I'll do it. I don't care. I'll do it. Because I would hope that my clients would do it if I asked them to, it's one of those things. But my favorite experience is definitely a nude beach. I got to go to Jamaica to photograph a wedding, actually. But there was an opportunity to spend a day on a nude beach. And 3 years ago, 2 years ago even, I would have absolutely not ever, I would have been like, no way, like my legs are no way. I don't feel comfortable. But like having seen so many women come to me and for them to be self-conscious, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, literally everybody I've seen something so stunningly beautiful that they don't see. And it's like, I don't look at them and think they can't go to a nude beach. There's not a single person. So I'm like, why the fuck can't I go? And so it was like kind of scary, but I'm like, yes, I'm doing it. There was no question. There was no hesitation. I'm like, I'm going to go do this. And it was the most normal thing that I've ever done. like riding the boat over to this little nude island. I was like, oh my God, and for real, just walking up the stairs to this like beach area, I was like, okay. it took like 15 seconds for me to completely forget I was naked and totally like, there's like dozens of other people here. And like, we're just having fun conversations and drinking and like swimming and like sitting on the beach and taking like, you know, nude beach selfies. And fuck, man, it was so freeing to swim in the ocean naked. I would have never done that, but I did it because in my heart I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is an example that I can set. And I'm super glad I did because it was one of the best times I've ever had. It was so cool.
That's rad. I think that happens pretty often when you push yourself outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people where in the last handful of years especially, I've been trying to push myself outside of my comfort zone. You know, I look at like where that zone is, how many yards out. All right, I'm going to go one beyond. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really afraid of heights, right?
Yeah.
So I decided, you know what? I'm going skydiving. Like, I'm going to do that. So I think it was my 27th birthday or something.
Fucking great, isn't it?
Yeah, it was so sick. I decided like I'm going to go do it. So I did it by myself for my birthday. And yeah, I mean, it was terrifying for sure, like right away. But it was so sick. It was so fun. Or like with scuba diving, I'm a certified diver. I have all my own gear and I've dove in Hawaii and Thailand and stuff. I'm super afraid of deep water. Like I've been afraid of deep water for a long time.
Crazy as fuck down there.
And yeah, and the first time like I went diving in a lake where like you're going down or whatever and the water's really murky in a lake. People always say, oh, you can't see shit. Well, you can see some stuff. There's still cool stuff. When you swim underwater for an hour and you don't have to breathe, like you don't have to come up for breath, it's fun. It doesn't matter if there's nothing else to see. You're going to have fun. So it's fun. But when you take your diver's course or whatever, you got to do a bunch of these practice dives and stuff in a lake. So we did that and we dove like 30 feet deep, say. But when I'm about 10 feet deep, you know, going down, I'm deep enough now that I can't see the surface anymore, but I also can't see the bottom. Oof. And that was so terrifying. I was like, okay, you know, get down. I finally reached the like ground and I'm like, okay, now I at least have some reference point. But the more I've done it, the more comfortable I've gotten with it, and it's like exhilarating. You know what I mean? It's so much fun.
Wild.
That has nothing to do with my career, so I got to pick a different experience. So my experience this time was I decided that I wanted to start expanding kind of beyond just skateboarding in this community, which I've been doing for a while. Like I donate stuff for all kinds of different random, you know, little marches and different stuff. I try to be involved, but I decided I was going to reach out to Miles Boulevard, who was the first guest from season 1. Yeah. He's a rapper in town and he skates and stuff, but I decided to reach out to him and be like, you know what? I want to sponsor you. Like, I want you to be like a brand representative of my store. And he's like, oh, sick, dude. Thank you so much. I'm so excited about this. Something I've always like dreamed of. And I'm like, really? Like, you know, tight. That's rad. And I didn't realize that like he knew me from since he was a little kid. And I definitely didn't remember him, but he remembered me because I'm older than him, you know?
Of course.
So like he always wanted to, whatever. Well, like a week later, I'm talking to him and he's like, dude, the craziest thing just happened. I had to tell you first. I'm like, okay, what's up? And he's like, dude, I'm opening for Twista next week. And I'm like,
what?
Like overnight
I remember
celebrity?
when Twista came to town
like
and I was like,
that guy, the big, that one? And he's like, yeah, dude. I'm like, what the fuck?
That is so cool.
That's rad. He's like, yeah, you got to be there. I'm like, yeah, okay. You gotta. And he's like, we should do the announcement about like us partnering. And I'm like, yeah,
dude, you gotta love that, man.
Yeah. So we like had a booth set up with like us big sign for the shop and all that there. And he opened, and during his set, he invited me up on stage, and we like announced that he was part of the team or whatever. And we gave a board signed by a bunch of the artists to one of the kids that worked at, you know, the venue or whatever that skates and stuff, which was super cool.
That's so cool.
And then I got drunk with his mom and him because his mom was there. Yeah. And we just got drunk and watched all the rest of the rappers. And then Twista played. Like I was on the same stage so using the same mic that Twista fucking used.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That is some mind blowing shit.
So wild.
It's taking you to the next level. Yeah. That's so cool.
My skateboard shop made that thing. Like that was my job. That's the cool part is like that was my job, was to go do this like promotion event basically. Not that I got paid really, but you know what I mean? Like that's part of my career and I got to do that. And I'm like,
that's a thrill.
Yeah,
that's a straight up thrill ride.
So epic, and definitely wouldn't have happened if I still worked at Verizon. So let's end the episode here. I like to end every episode with a piece of advice. Hopefully people want to listen in, and hopefully some people who hear it think it's good advice and want to take it. Do you want to go first, or would you like me to go first?
Oh, I'll go first because yours always seem really good. So, but mine it's something that I actually say to my friends quite often because I've moved so much in my life. I mean, I went to 3 different colleges, 3 different high schools. So you got to build friendships fast and cherish them. Things change super quick. And I just feel like it's so important to take notice of the people that are important in your life. If it's a coworker that you see every day that you just like love working with, or if it's, you know, your sister or somebody in your family that you really like spending time with, or somebody that you're close to, or, you know, your friend group, like look around and you've got your crew that you spend your time with. And those people fucking rock. Like say yes often to experiences with them. Make time to go out, even if you're a little bit tired. Of course, self-care is important. But I mean, even if you're a little tired, go out and make a memory with them. Like be active in making fun plans and going on trips and doing things with the people that you're close to, because time changes things super quickly. And this crew that you see every day and rely on, next week, one of them might move, you know, or like things might change. Your coworker might quit, you know, and then suddenly everything that you look forward to and the things that you loved, they change and they become something different and awesome still in their own way. But just cherishing the people that you spend your time with and making sure that you making memories with them a priority.
For sure. And I would actually reiterate that, like, self-care doesn't necessarily mean staying in and getting your sleep anyways.
Correct.
Like you are doing something for yourself when you're going out and having fun and making memories with important people to you, for sure.
Even
That's
catching
what life
a coffee,
is.
you know?
That's what life's about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So mine's a little bit different. Mine is to pick something that you're bad at. Mine was painting. I was bad at painting. I was bad at anything creative in my mind, right? Well, I finally started painting relatively recently. And man, ever since episode 5 with Gabriel Fisher, who's an artist, I've painted almost every day now.
That's
for months,
awesome.
like hours every day I've been painting.
Yeah.
And now we're doing an art show at the shop, which the art show would have happened before this episode comes out. And my wife's making me be in it. So I've been like getting excited and
That's
I've worked
wild.
on a bunch of projects with it. But find something that you're bad at, but you really enjoy. You're just bad at it. But say, F it, and start committing time to doing that thing every single week.
Yeah.
Everyone is bad at everything the first time that they do it. But the more you do anything, the better you get at it. There's no reason to be embarrassed about your lack of skill, just about your lack of effort.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Passion Pod. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you soon.